Go away, bitch. Don't come over here. Karen, call the cops. Call the... It's all these kids in here. Call the cops, you dumb bitch. He coming around the window. Go that way, Cameron. Yeah, bitch, go away, bye. Go away, bye. Yep, bye. Bye. Keon out here.
A 23-year-old nursing assistant clocked in for her overnight shift on a Saturday night in early October 2025 and vanished within 20 minutes. Nearly 2 weeks later, she remains missing, her phone dark, her location unknown, her fate uncertain, while a 21-year-old suspect sits in custody with a $2.5 million bail, accused of her kidnapping. The case of Kada Scott would transform Philadelphia into a city gripped by questions. How did a young woman building her dream simply disappear? What happened in those crucial minutes after she arrived at work? And where is she now? Kada Scott represented the aspirations of a young woman building her life in Philadelphia. Born and raised in the city, she was the eldest of 2 siblings, and those close to her described her as ambitious, creative, and full of potential. She had graduated from Penn State University in 2023 with a degree in communications, laying a foundation for professional success. However, rather than pursuing a corporate path immediately, Scott worked as a nursing assistant at the Terrace at Chestnut Hill, a senior living facility located on East Abington Avenue in the Chestnut Hill neighborhood. Beyond her healthcare work, Scott was building an identity as a fashion designer and entrepreneur. She had previously designed her own clothing brand and was exploring the possibility of starting her own healthcare business. In a notable pursuit, she had recently broken into the competitive world of pageantry. Having participated in the Miss USA pageant for the first time that summer, Scott reportedly loved the experience and expressed enthusiasm about continuing to compete in future pageants. To her family and friends, she was a young woman with direction and determination, qualities that made her October 4th disappearance all the more troubling. Kevin Scott, her father, spoke about his daughter with visible affection and concern. She's the creative type. She loves fashion. She has designed her own clothing brand in the past. I believe she was looking into starting her own healthcare business as well. He described her as a great person with lots of friends, family, a very creative, ambitious young lady. At the time of her disappearance, Kada was living with her mother, Kim Matthews, in East Mount Airy, along the 8300 block of Rodney Street. October 4, 2025, began as an unremarkable Saturday evening for the Scott family. Kada prepared for work, pulling together her uniform and belongings for another night shift at the Terrace at Chestnut Hill. Her job required her to work the overnight shift, typically running from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. At approximately 9:45 p.m., Kada said goodbye to her mother and left their home to drive to work. Her mother, Kim Matthews, watched her daughter leave on what seemed like an ordinary night. Neither could have anticipated that this departure would be the last time they would see their family member for more than a week, and counting. Kada arrived at the Terrace at Chestnut Hill that night and parked her vehicle in the employee parking lot. She clocked in for her shift at the nursing facility in the Chestnut Hill neighborhood, approximately 3 miles north of her home. However, within approximately 20 minutes of arriving at work, something dramatically changed. According to Philadelphia Police Deputy Commissioner Frank Vanor, Scott left the facility before completing her shift. She did not leave in her own vehicle. The exact timing of when she left work remains unclear, though authorities indicate it was shortly after her arrival. Critically, Kada's personal items, her iPad, iPhone, and Apple Watch, were not found in her parked car at work. Whatever happened after she arrived at the nursing facility, Scott had taken her belongings with her. In the days leading up to her disappearance, Kada had reported something troubling to her family and friends. According to Philadelphia Police Captain John Craig, in the days leading up to her disappearance, Miss Scott related to her family and friends that an unknown individual or person had been harassing her via phone. These calls had been concerning enough that she felt compelled to discuss them with loved ones. The nature of the harassment was not immediately detailed by investigators, and it remained unclear whether the person harassing her via phone was connected to her eventual disappearance. However, the timing was notable and alarming. 1 week before she vanished, something or someone had already penetrated her sense of security. By the time she reported these calls to her family, the pattern was significant enough to worry her. On October 5, 2025, when Kada Scott failed to return home and did not contact her family, her mother reported her missing to the Philadelphia Police Department. This was entirely out of character. According to her mother, unable to call, text, that's just not her personality. Especially not checking with me, her mom, or her little sister just to let us know she's on. It's definitely unusual. Philadelphia police responded quickly to the report. Officers conducted an initial search of the area surrounding the terrace at Chestnut Hill and discovered Kada's vehicle still parked in the employee parking lot where she had left it that night. The car had been there for hours, untouched. By October 6, search and rescue operations had intensified dramatically. Police deployed canine units, helicopters, and drones to search the area near Scott's workplace. They focused particular attention on the Albury Arboretum in Germantown, a 55-acre natural area located approximately 3 miles from the nursing facility where Kada was last seen. Despite these efforts, the search yielded no results. No sign of Kada Scott was found. On October 8, the Philadelphia Police Department held a public press conference regarding the case. During that briefing, Police Sergeant John Craig addressed the peculiar nature of the disappearance. He noted that there had been no cell phone activity from Kada since she went missing. No text messages, no social media updates, nothing. It was as if she had simply ceased to exist on the digital footprint. Craig stated, "You have a 23-year-old young lady who has completely disappeared. We're interviewing family and friends and analyzing cell phone data." The concerns grew deeper as authorities recognized the unusual nature of this missing person case. Police stated they had some concern, more so than usual regarding Kada's disappearance. What had begun as a standard missing person investigation was taking on increasingly troubling dimensions. By October 13, more than a week into the investigation, Philadelphia police officials were willing to acknowledge publicly what the evidence was suggesting privately. Philadelphia Police Deputy Commissioner Frank Van Orr spoke to media outlets about the case in stark terms. "It's a troubling missing person report. We don't know if foul play was involved, but we certainly see some signs that this person wasn't voluntarily missing, so because of that, we're doing everything we can to figure out who she contacted and where she is now." On October 14, the Philadelphia Police Department made an official announcement that would signal the gravity of their concerns. The homicide unit was now taking over the investigation. While police carefully avoided characterizing it as a homicide investigation per se, the decision to hand the case to homicide detectives, rather than keeping it with the General Missing Persons Unit, spoke volumes. Philadelphia Police First Deputy Commissioner John Stanford explained the reasoning. "The homicide unit is getting involved because of our resources and our experience." In other words, the department believed this case required their most experienced and specialized detectives. On October 14, 2025, a significant breakthrough occurred in the investigation. Based on cell phone data analysis and digital evidence, investigators identified a suspect. Later that day, Keon King, a 21-year-old resident of southwest Philadelphia, surrendered himself to police. The exact circumstances of his surrender and the degree to which investigators persuaded him to come forward versus him voluntarily appearing at a police station remain unclear from available details. On Wednesday, October 15, Philadelphia police announced King's arrest formally during a morning press conference. He was charged with kidnapping in connection with Kada Scott's disappearance. Additionally, King faced charges of recklessly endangering another person and use of a communication facility in furtherance of his alleged crime. The latter charge references his use of a phone in connection with Scott's disappearance. Assistant District Attorney Ashley Toxalowski addressed the media regarding the evidence. "Mr. King is the last person we believe to be in contact with her when she went offline." She explained that cell phone records and digital communications had been instrumental in identifying King as the suspect. Deputy Commissioner Frank Van Orr provided additional details about the contact between Scott and King. "Our evidence is pretty clear that she was in communication with an individual. That individual appears to meet her very shortly after she leaves her place of work, and very shortly after that, she disappears off the footprint." As part of the press conference on October 15, police released details about a vehicle they believed was connected to the disappearance. They described it as a 1999 metallic gold Toyota Camry with front-end damage on the driver's side bumper and Pennsylvania license plate MSX 0797. Police noted that the license plate might have been switched since the incident. The vehicle had reportedly been listed on Facebook Marketplace approximately 3 weeks prior to the announcement. Police believed Kada Scott may have been inside this vehicle at some point following her disappearance. The car had been tracked by authorities to multiple locations across Philadelphia in the days after King's suspected involvement with Scott. Deputy Commissioner Frank Vanishes stated, "We know it's been in Mount Airy. We have photos of it in Center City. We have pictures of it in the Grays Ferry area, and in southwest Philadelphia. So it's possible that it could be anywhere, it could be outside the city." Hours after police made this public appeal for help locating the vehicle, a tip came in. At approximately 3:10 p.m. on October 15, officers located the 1999 gold Toyota Camry in the parking lot of Gypsy Lane condos in the East Falls section of Philadelphia. Sources indicated that King had family connections to that location. The vehicle had reportedly been parked at the condominium complex for at least 5 days. The Camry was heavily tinted, making it impossible for observers to see inside the vehicle. Once investigators obtained a search warrant, the vehicle would be towed to a police garage facility for a comprehensive forensic examination. The vehicle's windows and tinting prevented clear observation of its interior contents, but police believed it held crucial evidence. Following the press conference announcing King's arrest on October 15, police received 2 tips, each leading to significant discoveries. The second tip proved particularly important. Officers were directed to an abandoned elementary school, Ada H. Lewis Middle School, located on the 6100 block of Ardley Street in East Germantown. This school is approximately 2 miles from the Auberry Arboretum, which had been a focal point of the earlier search efforts. At the school property, police deployed crime scene teams, drones, and K-9 units. Their search was rewarded with concrete physical evidence. According to Philadelphia Police Sergeant Eric Grip, "Shortly after arriving out here, we were able to locate some physical evidence which ties Miss Scott to this scene." Investigators recovered at least 2 pieces of personal property belonging to Kada Scott at the abandoned school location. Sources indicated that officers found Scott's personal identification card and what appeared to be a cell phone case. Sergeant Grip characterized the discovery in unambiguous terms. "This is some of the most concrete, physical evidence that we have found since Miss Scott has gone missing." As investigators began building their case against Keon King, a troubling picture emerged regarding his history. According to court records and police statements, King had a documented pattern of targeting women with violence and kidnapping. Earlier in 2025, King had been arrested and charged with kidnapping and assault in a separate incident. In that case, which investigators characterized as domestic in nature, King allegedly kidnapped a woman he knew. According to Assistant District Attorney Ashley Toxalowski, King kidnapped a woman in front of her house, threw her in a car, assaulted her, and eventually let her out. Police possessed video evidence in connection with that earlier kidnapping. That earlier case had proceeded to the court system but stalled when the victim failed to appear in court on multiple occasions. In May 2025, the district attorney's office made the decision to withdraw the charges due to the victim's repeated failure to appear for trial. However, when King was arrested in connection with Kada Scott's disappearance on October 14, prosecutors made the decision to refile the charges from the earlier case. Assistant District Attorney Ashley Toxalowski announced this development, so at this point, he will have 2 open kidnapping cases that will face preliminary hearings in the coming months. Beyond these kidnapping charges, King's criminal record consisted primarily of traffic citations and other summary offenses. However, police noted that the 21-year-old appeared to have an established pattern of targeting women with kidnapping and violent offenses. Because of this pattern, Philadelphia police publicly urged anyone who believed they might have been a victim of King to come forward. Anyone that may have been involved with this individual or anyone that may know this individual, please at this point in time make that phone call. Feel comfortable enough to call us and let us know if you have any information regarding this person, regarding any interaction you've had with this individual, stated Philadelphia Police First Deputy Commissioner John Stanford. If you have been a victim of any crime regarding this individual, we want you to understand that now is the time to make that phone call and let us know. A critical question remains unresolved in the early stages of the investigation. How did Keon King and Kada Scott know each other? Investigators have not yet provided clear details about the nature of their relationship or how long they had known one another. Deputy Commissioner Frank Vanishes stated, We're still working to determine how King and Scott knew each other, but we believe the pair came in contact in the days before the disappearance. Assistant District Attorney Ashley Toxalowski was similarly vague about their connection. What relationship King and Scott had and how long they knew each other is under investigation. It remains unclear whether King was the individual who had been harassing Scott via phone in the days prior to her disappearance, or whether that person was someone else entirely. The investigation is ongoing on this crucial point. Following his arrest and arraignment on October 16, Keon King was ordered held on $2.5 million bail. He faces charges of kidnapping, recklessly endangering another person, and use of a communication facility in connection with Kada Scott's disappearance. He also faces refiled charges related to the earlier 2025 kidnapping case. King has not been publicly reported as cooperating with investigators. Police declined to comment on whether he is providing information about Scott's location or what may have happened to her. As of mid-October 2025, more than 2 weeks after her disappearance, Kada Scott remains missing. Despite an intensive investigation involving the Philadelphia Police Department's Homicide Unit, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, extensive search operations, and public appeals for information, Scott has not been located. The Scott family has actively participated in search efforts. Family members have canvassed neighborhoods, distributed missing person flyers, and set up a GoFundMe page to raise funds for the search and investigation. Her father, Kevin Scott, addressed the public with a direct plea. You never know what little, small, minuscule information may apply to the big picture, the puzzle that might get Kada home. So whatever you think may help, call and report it to the police department. Kevin Scott spoke to media outlets about the emotional toll of the situation. I never went through this before. Trying to keep my composure, hoping everything works out. I just want her back. It's my daughter. We're all concerned. It's going on a week as of tomorrow. Just want her back as soon as possible, make sure she's safe, want her back home. When later asked about his daughter's current condition and location, Kevin Scott said to CNN affiliate WPVI, "It's been difficult, extremely difficult. We keep faith that she's okay and she's going to be with us as soon as possible, she's going to be found and hopefully no harm is done to her." Her mother, Kim Matthews, expressed her deepest fear to media. "I just need her to come home and be safe. That's what I fear, she's not safe." As of October 16, 2025, the investigation into Kada Scott's disappearance remains active and ongoing. Philadelphia Police Deputy Commissioner Frank Van Orr stated unequivocally, "The number one priority is locating Ms. Scott. We need to find Ms. Scott, figure out where she is, what may have happened to her to cause her to completely disappear from all her items, her phone, her Instagram, social media sites and everywhere else." First Deputy Commissioner John Stanford reiterated this priority. "The case was shifted to homicide because we have the most experienced investigators in our homicide unit. We are still treating this as if Ms. Scott is still alive, and that's why we want the public's help in trying to locate every single piece of this." The investigation will proceed along several tracks. Forensic examination of King's 1999 Toyota Camry will be conducted once a search warrant is fully executed, potentially yielding biological evidence or other forensic materials. The physical evidence already recovered at Ada H. Lewis Middle School will be processed and analyzed. Digital evidence, including cell phone records, will continue to be reviewed. And investigators will work to establish the exact relationship between King and Scott, and determine whether King will cooperate in revealing Scott's location. Preliminary hearings in both kidnapping cases, the Scott case and the refiled earlier case, are expected to occur in the coming months. These proceedings may reveal additional details about the evidence against King and the circumstances of the alleged crimes. For now, the investigation remains in its early stages, and Kada Scott's location remains unknown. The family waits for answers, the community holds on to hope, and investigators continue their determined pursuit of the truth. What happened to 23-year-old Kada Scott on the night of October 4th, and where she is now, remains the central question driving this ongoing investigation. Anyone with information regarding the disappearance of Kada Scott is urged to contact the Philadelphia Police Department at 215-686 8477, or submit an anonymous tip online. The case number and department have emphasized that even small pieces of information could prove vital to locating Scott. The investigation continues.